Oh, look at this. Lovely, lovely rain. It's December 19th. I love it. I hate the snow. I hate the cold. It's 56 degrees up here in Agawam, and I'm hubby with just about anything garage. Welcome to the video. This is going to be part 5 if you've been watching the Correct Craft series. This one over here that we're doing. We're on to part number 5. I'm not going to bore you with a summary or an update on part 4. Go ahead and watch the video. It's out there. You'll like it. But we have an opportunity today because it's warmed up enough in the shop to do some epoxying. And if you've been watching the video, you know that we had to do some here. So this is the intro video to that. And we'll go on from here and see if we can't ramp up a bunch of stuff. We got a mess in here. We got a mess because it's messy, but it's got a mess because my shoes are messy. But we did get the opportunity, guys, to get this epoxied so we can get that blower in. It's warm enough. We got it set up there. It should be able to dry and cure. So let's use this as the intro to that. We'll come back. We're sending you some more exciting stuff. We're going to see if we can't wrap up a bunch of crap in number 5, so when we move to 6 and 7 we can move on to other things that are unrelated to the mechanicals. We're going to try and get that all wrapped up. All right, so stay tuned. We appreciate you guys, and we'll be right back with some more action. All right, back up in the boat here, and one of the first things we did is we took advantage of the fact that it is warm today and it's hot. So what we decided to do is to get the mounting for the inline blower epoxied in. We've got that done right over here. You can see that. I got a board up there holding it. Let's go ahead and check it. The other thing we do is we got a nice hot cup of coffee, so you know that's a good thing. Let's go and let's see if we got some curing going on. It's been for a couple hours, probably 2 hours since I put it up there, and we should at least be dry tacky. I left the light on when I did it, so that thing's got to be just about out of charge. Let's check it. It went up there, squeeze dried out, and not setting up yet. This may take a while because it is still a little bit chilly in there. We may put, I've got a halogen lamp. We may go ahead and put a halogen lamp on that to help heat that up, that area a little bit, because it'll cure. We mixed it really well. What we did is we just pulled the back out. We took the gun. If you recall, when we were doing the other epoxy of the other one, we used this Bauer right here and this tube of Thixo, but we put the static mixing tube on it. But here what I did is I just pulled the ends, put some on it, mixed it by hand, and then put it on up there. So that may take actually a full day plus to go ahead and cure. But one of the things, oh, you know what else we can do is, yeah, let's go with the light. I do have the heat gun, but that can get too hot because epoxies, you know, epoxies is one of those things that it needs to be warm in order to cure. But then once it's cured, you use heat to get rid of it. So it's got a threshold point for both of those. But we've got that up and in. We've got a head epoxied. So let me go see if we can't get that to cure. We'll come back and take a look at that. Other than that, we're going to try and get the gas tank in. That's why we're trying to get that done and get this rear back all wrapped up and closed up and everything in its place. And gas lines run and vent lines run and signals and everything. So just hang tight and we'll be back with the next piece of this. Okay, that halogen light helped a lot. That is like cured now. At least tacky on the top. We're gonna let it go a little longer and then we'll turn it off. That produces quite a bit of heat in there. But we're looking pretty good there. All right, we'll come back and we'll show you when it's all mounted up and hooked up, and hopefully it won't be as noisy as it has been. We'll find out. All right, hang tight. Okay, it's all in. Epoxy went right in. It's stuffed on there. We got the spacers on there, the insulators. It's noisy, but it's primarily just it moving air. Listen to this. Not so much the vibration anymore. Okay, so I think we got a good mount there. It's on the isolators. So we're good to go with that one. All right, we'll be back. All right, so we're getting ready to put this tank in. So we have the sending unit connected to the correct lead. We put a ground line on that's going to run the back. We got a vent line here, which runs over and is set to fit. We can reach this fitting when we go to do the actual gas connection, so we'll just do that from the side. But let's go ahead and see if we can't get this up and in there. Bring you guys along for that. Bring it over like this. Get our light out of the way. Get our wire cluster up here. Oh, sorry, I'm showing you nothing while I'm doing this here. Okay, I'm gonna put you down. See if I can't get you. In there. Okay. So, which works is this has to tilt forward. This. There. And get her up in there. This. Whatever that is. Up, 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 up. Onto the brackets. That. Okay. Make sure that this does not get caught on this corner. Let it come forward. Like that. Down, line up the hole for the vent. A little bit more this way. There we go. There we go. Vent's in. We get secured from the back side, so do that. Here are those two wires. That's good. Let's take the connector here. Drop it in to make sure we're well aligned. Push this wire back. Oh yeah, we should be right there. Oh yeah. Cool. Go. Now we're gonna put the face on it and get everything routed correctly. See the vent line right here goes out. We'll stick a little silicone on the back of it, and then there's a cover plate on the front side, and got everything run behind the tube. The blue is sending. It'll be clipped so that we can put a weather pack connector on it, and just left it for now. The ground's gonna come over and hit that ground piece that we have over there. So let me go ahead and do that. Put the facing piece. So come back and we'll show you when it's all together. So just hang on tight here. Okay, so that's the vent tube coming out the back for the boat, all attached. Good. It's got. I've already checked flow. It's got flow for there, so it's venting. Let's go around to the boat. Look underneath. Look at the back, we got all this connected and in place. Get this out of the way. Alright. Sorry for the heater drone, trying to be warm. Alright, so this is in place. The only thing we're going to do is a couple L brackets that'll connect to here and act as just a hook to hold it down. But we got everything wired in, all the grounds. We've got all the extensions for the wires. We got the weather pack connector. We're going to connect this side of it here onto this like that, so it stays there. In here is where the vent comes through. there. So that's all set. So the only thing we have left to do is to hook the fuel up. There's a connector up in here. We gotta run down, connect onto the valve, and then the valve out and run it up and over to here into the engine compartment. All right, so stay tuned because that's next. All right, so we finished up the back here, and what we did is we just took 2 corner brackets. They look like right like this here, and we just put it over like that, screwed them into this base here, and they're on top of the tank. So now the tank isn't going anywhere. It can't rise, it can't move side to side, it can't go front or back, so it's all set. Okay, the other thing we're going to do is let's go ahead and test. We have the valve back here for the gas, and we have the blower that we can run. I have to do a little work on this first before we can test that one out, because as you can see there's no bulb, and I think I got something stuck in there, so we'll have to play with that one. But anyways, I've got this set up so we can test, and I don't know if it'll go or not because I haven't turned it on yet. I just stripped them and put them on. And let's see, we got purple is the blower, yellow is the purple is the blower, this one right here, and yellow is the valve control. This black one is the ground that goes up through the conduit here and connects to the block. So let's let the listen. Yep, there it goes. Can you hear that? That's that valve opening and closing. So we know we got continuity back to that. So let's go ahead and release that one down here like that. And it slipped out because it wasn't in there tight, but it worked. Okay, let's pop this back up. Sorry, I can't hold you and pop at the same time. Ugh. There we go. And you know what? Let me put you guys on the stand. We'll stop struggling with it, making it be weird. There we go. And we'll grab this over here, put the purple one in, see if that blower comes on. Okay, that's in there tight. Let's see if the blower comes on. Yep. Connection all the way to the back. Okay, so we got those 2 tested. I'll check I'll see if I'll play with that light a little bit. Maybe we can find a bulb, get whatever stuck, and see if the light comes on. But I suspect it will. There's no reason why it wouldn't. And then it's just the sender coming back. But I'll have to check that later once we get the gauges set up. I can use like a 100 ohm resistor. And I use a 100 ohm resistor to test the gauges and make sure the gauges work. If the gauges work, then we can put it on there and it should register. It's registering empty now, as you can see it, so it won't change that because it'll be empty, but we can do some more testing. All right, so there we're over with that, and we'll be back with some more. Man, it was like 33 degrees in the shop when I came out, so we warmed it up. We're outside now, and we just got this, a Binford AN fittings and 3/8 hose kit right here. So we're going to go ahead and flip this and see if we can't run some 3/8 AN hose up from the back here all the way to the back, and then we'll get it over there. We're going to swap everything over to AN fittings and do it all in AN. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Let me set you up on the stand. No big deal, it's just stuffing the wire as usual. Put you down. Got my thumb in the way. Can you see here? Yep. Alright. Let's go ahead. Cut the wire out here. Let it lay out and route it. it's 20 feet of hose, so we should have plenty. We only got to go like 10 feet there, so not even that. What, 5 feet, 4 feet, 3 feet, something like that. So let's just put this back like that. Get a bunch of line out. Get all the electrical fittings sitting over here being a pain in the butt. That's okay. That's okay. Right. Put this right here like that. Go ahead. And see if we can't get that to go all the way back and not run into stuff. Yep, hit the wire bundle. See it moving. Let's see if we turn this around, put the light on, see if we can see it underneath and we can pull it up. What we're gonna do is I'll pull it up and route it, and then we'll try and secure it on this end first. Let's see. Anything down there? Nothing yet. Okay, so you guys sit here and watch. I don't know if you'll be able to see anything. Push up a little bit more. You may have to route on the other side. If we can't. And I may have to take this bracket off so that I can get a little bit of space under here. Probably need to do that, huh? Alright, well, let me clear some stuff out and we'll come right back and show you it routed. Hang on. Alright, so we're running into a little teeny snag as we're trying to get the fuel run up. We got the wire, of course, in, and we drilled and we pulled it over. And we cut to put on the, we're using AN fittings for this. It's an AN6 fitting. And they're not really hard to do. I mean, once you cut it, you slip it over the hose. You take this piece right here, you screw it into it and tighten it down, and it seals everything up. The problem is it can be hard to push these onto the hose because they're a real tight fit when they do that. So I had a tool that did that, but can I find a tool? No. So I've gone and ordered another one. So we're going to go and wait for that to get delivered. And we'll get all the AN fittings done. We're going to do several AN fittings, not only for this, but for other projects too. So it's worth getting. And it's not that much. It's like 60 bucks. So we'll be ready and we'll bring that to you as soon as we did. In the meantime, we did order a new back navigation light. It's an Atwood. It's a this is a two-piece unit. It's as you can see, it's got two little plug ends down at the bottom here, and it plugs into this base right here. See how we couldn't test the other one? The base slides over the cover, of course, and you swivel to the side when you go to push it in, and you can stow your nav light when you're not using it if you want. It'll go right into this place. I do need to notch it. There's a notch on the back here which keeps it centered, which we need to go ahead and notch in order for that to fit in to the old piece. I've already cut the other one out, and so we'll rewire it. This is the activation, the white and the black's the ground. So we're also going to put we probably won't do weather pack on these and plug it into that. We'll probably just do unpluggables because it's high, way above the water line. This is lower, which is why we put one there, and do it that way. We're also going to switch this from the 4-pack to 4 singles. The reason for that is that way we can, you know, just unplug the gas tank if we need to get the tank out for some reason and leave the other ones connected. So we got to unplug everything from it in order to do it. So we're going to switch it over to singles, and we'll just keep this. We got the release tool, so we'll be able to pull the pins out. But that's where we're at. So we'll go ahead and we'll probably get the new weather packs on their singles. We'll go ahead and we'll get this one all carved out so we can get it in there and screwed down and connected, and we'll show you that while we're waiting for the tool to come up. and we'll clean up a couple other things in here, and maybe mount the holder for the fuel filter right here, which is going to go up in this area by the motor. And we might be able to run this end because, well, we can connect to the fuel filter because that's just going to be hose clamp connections in and out. And then when we come into this fuel pump here, it looks like we're going to be at least, I might be able to pull that out. They have it set up as a hose clamp type connection, but we might be able to run a AN6 fitting in there. We'll see. If not, we might have to do those as simple hose clamp type fit, press-ons, clamp them down with hose fittings with the 3/8 line, which should be fine. All right, so hang on and we'll be right back with the next exciting part of this adventure. All right, so got the new pole in, new attachment. We screwed it right down. We're gonna go ahead and trim this right here so it'll slide down around it, no big deal. This pulls out, of course. As you can see, this swivels around to cover it up, so when we're not using it, if we don't want it in the way, we can pull it up and pull it out. We went and we reattached here with the lights. We decided, we were talking about maybe going to single pin so you can unplug it, but what I'll just do is, if we ever need to move or pull something out, we'll just release the pins from the connector and pull it that way. For any of these, like if this fails or if that fails, or we get a leak in the tank, we got to do something, we'll just disconnect the grounds from the ground stud and pop the pins out of the connectors. It's pretty easy to do. Waiting on a tool to install this because these are being a pain in the butt. They got to slide over the hose and then you screw them in and it pulls it all up. But it's a little tool you can do that clamps the hose and pushes that on. Make it a lot easier. I'm just waiting for that to show up, and then we'll go ahead and we'll get the fuel all set up. It's run here. Once we got it run, it's secure at this end because it comes through the block like that, so it's not going anywhere. And then once we got it, we'll secure it underneath and we'll put a restraining on that. Let's go ahead and test the back light. See how we've got it hooked up. Ooh, look at that, bouncy, bouncy, bouncy. So let me set you guys down for a second while I get this set up to do it. Right? Let's see, what are we looking for? We want this bundle here. Oh, if I can reach it. Without stepping on stuff. This one. And the ground right here. Okay. And the white wire goes to the light. That's the light switch. Let's go ahead and connect these up here. The white goes into this side. Clamp it down like that. Ground goes into here. Like this. Like this. Well, maybe like that. Like that. Clamp that down. And see if we get a light. Turn it towards the light. Go to the light. And let's turn the switch on. Hey, look at that. It works. We can switch it from the front. Just had to hook it to the switch with a power source. And there's a light. It comes on. So we confirmed that all of them work, right? We did the valve. We heard it switch on. The blower comes on. The light. The only thing that hasn't been tested, of course, is the gas sending unit signal. And to do that, we have to hook it up to the meter over here, which we don't know if it works yet, and get that sending unit to move. And the way you do that is put some gas in it or some water in it and then pump it out or something like that. But anyways, looks like everything's working. So on to the next thing. All right, back at it. So we used the new machine to go ahead and get this one all set up with the 90 on here. And pushed it right on. Now what we're going to do is we need to make another one that's going to go from the tank over on down into that. So I just measured it. We got about a 12-inch run here and about another 12-inch run there for 24. So we'll go ahead and we're going to cut some hose off at probably about 26 inches. Give us a little play. And we're going to go assemble that one in the vise to make it easy. And I'll show you guys how you do that. With these and how that works. So it's no big deal. But on the way to that, Let me give you a little treat as I'm getting down out of the boat here and walk out into the sunshine on a beautiful Sunday. It's January 11th. It's about 10:30 in Agawam. We got sunshine coming down. It's nice. All right, so he suddenly died because the battery died. So I'm back, and this is what I was saying. Beautiful, beautiful day here in Agawam. Like I was saying, it's the 11th of January. You know, we're in the 40s. Snow's melting, sun's out. Now, we'll get more crap, but, you know, let's take it where we got it. I got there's a squirrel. We've got the doors open so it can get some light and some fresh air in there. So, that's where we're at. But let's go ahead and get you guys set up. And show you how we're doing this. So what I did here is I took the machine, which is the fixture, and I'll run right through this for you. Threw it in the vise, and we got some 3/8 hose over here that we're going to go ahead and cut the appropriate length. Let me go ahead and set you guys up here. See how it looks from that perspective. All right. So I'll show you as I'm doing this how this works, and we'll pick you up and we'll put you in there, okay? So to start it off with, let me show you how we load it. I've shown you before, this has a bunch of dies, right, and they're labeled. So this is the 6, the number 6 AN fitting size, okay? And so the way that you do this is, we'll go ahead and we'll put one in here. Let me point you down a little bit while I'm showing you this. Is you set it up, this is the deep side. So this is the bigger part of the die, okay? And if you look at the die, looks like a bell right there at the end. The bell's got to pop out to the outside because that's where the hose is going to press into that to do that. So we want it to fit flush and square, so it goes down and it lines up just like that. And then we'll do it the same with the other side, making sure that the bell's pointing out this way on the top side, okay? So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do a straight one first. So this is the fitting we're going to do on one end, and then we're going to do a right angle fitting on the other end. Let me set you down. Get you back up here like this. And what I'm going to do here is we're going to unscrew the fitting to make sure it comes off. Ugh! We're going to try to unscrew the fitting. Ugh. Just tight. Okay, be that way. Let's grab a quick pair of pliers. And you shouldn't really use pliers on this because it's only aluminum. So you're going to end up scratching or denting it. Scratch and dent, you know? Get one for the other side. Okay, so let me just hang on to that. Let's unscrew this. Come on, really? Let's screw it. There we go. We got it broke free. Like that. And unscrew it. We nicked it up nice. It's only aluminum. And if you didn't know what AN stand for, it's Army Navy fittings. These come out of the military. So what you do then is you take your nut, right? And this is the barrel. This is where the barrel is going to point to. You drop it in your fixture for your size. Make sure it sits flush and square. In on that. Just like that. I'm going to take the top part of the die. We're going to put it in flush in its spot like this. Turn it so it goes in flush like that, and you can go ahead and close it up, press the pin here and let it latch tight like that. Okay, now you've got that all seated in there with the hose coming out. Now what we're going to do next is we're going to take our 3/8 braided hose here. We're going to measure off about 26 inches or so. So right about here. There, like that. And I'm going to go grab some tape, because you want to tape this to make sure that you don't fray the edges of it. So sit tight, I'll be right back. And let me put you on pause and get the rest of the stuff we need to do that. And then we'll come on back to this. So hang tight. All right, so I'm back and we're running again. And I just put some tape on it, right? So now you can use various things to cut it. I have these big electrical pliers that I use to cut this. I'm gonna go right in the middle of the tape, square it up, and cut this baby right there. Boink, drop it on the ground. Just like that. There we go. We got a nice 26-inch piece we're gonna do. We're gonna pull the tape off. So you're only using the tape to stop the ends from fraying too bad. And I may have to trim this end a little bit. If we do, we'll tape it and we'll trim it. Okay. Pull those ends up a little bit. And let's look more towards this sucker right here. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to clamp this into the vise. And we're going to put it so it's just coming in, lining up like that. Tighten it down. Lines everything up. Make sure it's nice and tight. Let me show you. We're just going ahead and doing that. Make sure it's nice and tight. The hole should not flex. Okay? And it's pointing in there, and we'll arrange it so it slides in like that, okay? And then all you need to do is start cranking down on it until you feel it bottom. Oh, it's crunching up the... Yeah, we may not get a good fit here. It looks like it's crunching on us. All right, let's back it off. Because... And it pulls the... fin out, but we may have to trim that end, pull it off and trim it, because we don't want... We're going to release the pressure on the die, pull the die out. You can see it's, yeah, see it's not fully seated yet, so let's go ahead and pull it off. Well, it's not fully seated, and we're going to go ahead and put it back in the die. Set this back up, but we are going to roll it out just a little bit. Redo this a little bit. Get this up where it's supposed to be. Drop that in the die like that. Drop this one in its part of the die. You see, it was crunching the braid on it, and I don't like it when it crunches the braid, but it's on pretty good, so we'll continue to roll with it like that. Okay, and now we're gonna, from here, tighten it down again, clamp it, and we'll just drive it home and we'll see what we get here. If we have to, we can pull it apart. Okay, let's finish the action. Yeah, see, it's crunching the die. You can see it. I'll show you. It's supposed to slide over that, but it didn't. It looks like it's pushed the braid out. So we are going to do something. I'll show you what I'm talking about. You see how the hose is crunching up here? It shouldn't do that. And the reason it's doing that is it's hitting the... It's the braid is not... It's not sliding over the braid, so it's compressing it. So we're going to go ahead and pull this right back. Open this up. Pull the die out, pull this out. Or we're seated and it's just crunched up on it. Let's check that. Let me use your guys' light here. We'll show you guys too. Oh, see, that's what the issue is. I'm not paying attention. And it's fully seated. You can see it up in there. Now I was crunching it too much. It slid right over it right initially. And I just crunched it up. So look, it did its job, and it did its job really well enough for me to not feel it do that. Let's get the light off. Okay, so that's what you do there on that end. Let's go ahead and we'll do the other end too while we're here thinking about it. Let's try it again, and we'll get the other fitting end from the 90 on the other end. So we do them one at a time, and then we'll tighten them on up. So pushes them right on. No big deal. It's more operator error, you know. So let's go ahead and pull that back a little bit so it's out of our way. Let's pop our die in. Make sure that the bell's pointing out. Let's drop the nut in. Make sure it's all set. Come on, get in the nut. Get in there. What is going on? You have to make sure that the flat edges are lined up or it won't drop in there. Really? What are you doing? I do have it right. Yes, I do. What is your issue? What's going on? Fits right in that one. Why am I having an issue here? Is it not fitting into that? There we go. Just the edges are a little tight on it. Okay, so we got it in there. You see it's sitting in there. Tolerances and stuff like that. Okay, I'm going to take this die, make sure it's lined up correctly. Pop it in there flush. Go ahead and close it on up and lock it like that. Let's push this up so it's just entering it. Lock it down like that. And tip you a little bit more this way. Start to put that on. Right up to the point where it starts to squish. We're going to let it squish it a little bit to make sure that we're set like that. And then go ahead and back it off, and it should pull that die right out. It does. Go ahead and release the die. Release the cable, the hose. Pull it out and up and out of the clamp. Pull the die off of it. And that die. Turn your light back on. I'm going to use you guys to inspect it. Yep, it's looking good. You can, I don't know if you guys can see in there, but it's all seated. It pushed it right up and it seated it. Okay, so that's the first actions that you use to go ahead and do this. Now what we're going to do is we're going to lock this back up. We're going to take our die, put it in our case so we don't lose them. Like that. And that's really the hard part of doing this, is pushing those on. There's a, you can also get Cool Tool, which is a block that you can fit the nuts in, and you can put it in your vise, and then you can push the hose on while you're twisting. And it's cheaper than this, but I like using this because it does up to 10s. It'll clamp and it'll hold. So it's a really, really sweet tool. It was only like 40 bucks, so it's no big deal. Okay, so now that we got these in here, we have to screw in the different adapters. Now what you want to do when you do that is you want to protect the nut here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and wrap the nut a little bit in some paper towel, because we're going to put it in the vise next. Right, just like this. Close the vise up. So give it a little, not to deform it, just get it tight enough so it doesn't move. We're going to take the straight one that we're doing, going to hit it with a little lube on the threads so it'll thread in easy. Okay, we're going to go ahead and run that in. Push down a little bit on it. As you can feel it starting to engage into the hole. Yep, it's getting in there. And then they make special wrenches for this you can use. I'm going to just use this adjustable for right here. And just spin it around and in. And it's easier to do on a vise because you can hold on one side. Otherwise you have to hold with two, let's tighten that up a little bit more. Two wrenches, and it can get a little bit awkward. Let's go ahead and do that. Make sure that we're on there. There we go. Just run it all the way down till it seats. The lube helps it go into the threads and not gall them because it's all aluminum, but it also helps to push, because it's pushing into the rubber, right? So it helps that as well. So you don't gall the threads as you're putting it in. Ooh. Oh, we're trying to turn the hose here. Oh yeah, trying to turn the hose. And that's the other problem. Get it tight. We got to keep going here. So let me go ahead and get this on. What's happening is that the hose is turning within there as it tries to press in there. So I may have to back it out and put a little lube on the inside of the plastic in order for it to tighten up. So we'll be back and we'll show you, but that's all there is to it on how you do this. All right, so there you go. Two ends, the straight end and the 90 degree, and the 90 turns in here. Now when you're tightening these up, I'm going to show you, this is the original fixture for the straight end, but it broke as I was going into it. As you can see right there, it broke off and it hadn't tightened down all the way. These seat right on the top. You shouldn't really see any space between these two when you do that, but it gets tighter and tighter and it resists more. So the way that you handle that is I use PB Blaster. I spray the threads of the fitting and then I spray some in the hose. And it'll wind down for a while, but when you start to get tight, as you're twisting it, inside the hose, it's starting to twist the hose too, right? As it gets deeper and deeper and the screws are in there. And so what you do is you go down, you back off for a second, you wait, and you do it a quarter or an eighth of the turn as you get close to the bottom. Otherwise, you end up with this, where you snap it off. And this was an older fitting that had been put on and off. It may have been on one and then taken. I don't think it was taken off though, because you can't really get them off. It was just, you know, tighten down and loosen, tighten down and loosen, uses the demonstration piece. So it may have had an issue from that perspective. But it's twisting, and as it twists, right, it shortens it and squeezes it harder and gets harder and harder. So if you go a quarter or an eighth of a turn, stop, the hose will has a tendency to unwind down below it. And you do a little bit more and a little bit more, and it will seat, and they will seat properly, as you can see here. Just got to be a little bit patient with your fittings, and these fittings shouldn't leak. I got a little bit of thread wear on it, right, because I put it in the vise. You should really use rubber or plastic, or put little pieces of wood or cardboard on here. I wrapped it in this, as you saw, but what I would do next time is cut some cardboard, put a little tape on it, and fling it over and clamp it between the tape to hold one end. You can do it with 2 adjustables, like I told you before. That's what I did up on the boat, but it gets a little complicated, a little hard, because you got to hold the base with it and then turn that. But there we are. We got our drop-down cable. We got to pull out fittings and find and adapt them to the ones that we need to have, both on the solenoid controlled fuel valve and up on the tank. So we'll go ahead and we'll get those, and then we'll attach these and we'll show you once we got it there. All right, so hang tight. All right, so we got the fuel in the back all wrapped up. We got the cables and the fittings made. There's a back cable back here. You can see that black one comes down and goes to the back of that and up to the top of the, you can see right in there, connects nice to there. We got all our ground lines and everything, so that's all ready. We got our 90-degree here that'll go on and go back underneath, and we'll pull it up tight here. We're going to move ourselves up here. We got our electrical and our keeping mechanism back in for the tank, so it's all wrapped up. The only thing we got left to do is we need to put the output hose here and the input hose onto that, and then we're just totally done in the back. And when we do that, we'll run it down and we'll stop it about here, and then we're going to pop a hole, a 2-inch hole somewhere, well, where we don't put the fuel filter in here, so that it can draw from the bilge area to do it, because it's going to run to the outside. There's no way to get it in to there, so we'll have to go poke a hole through and then poke a hole through the other stringer to make sure that we can go ahead and do that. And then we'll move up here, get all the fuel connected for everything, and then finish up the electrical wiring. Okay, so that's what we're at. That's what we're heading for. All right, so we'll be back in just a minute. Man, is it cold out here. It's probably been, I don't know, 2-3 weeks since the last segment. You know, we got hit with that big storm and it's super cold, and it is so cold. I can't get it above 25 degrees in the shop, and it's got we're up in the boat, of course. Everything's stiff. I mean, I'm afraid of breaking something to use it. So what we did is I cleaned up and organized a little bit in the boat, because we got to come up this side, right, and do the finish the you can hear everything creaking. It's so cold and everything's shrunk. We have got it glued down, so it's tweaking like that. If you recall from the last segment, we got that all together. We got to come up here and get the bracket for the filter in, and we've got the filter. I'm going to check it to make sure it'll fit. If not, we'll pick up a different type of one to fit in there, and mount it and get the final on the fuel system hooked up in the air, and then we'll do choke cable and we'll do throttle cable and all that type of stuff, and then finish up the electrical in the front like we said. But it may be a couple more days before we can do that, because the temperature's got to come up. It's just too cold, and the bullet heater, as you hear it, has a hard enough time trying to raise it, because ambient outside right now is, this is what, February 1st, I think. It's like 18 degrees, and we've regularly been below 0 lately, so cold. But I thought I'd stick this one in here, say we got more coming. Hopefully we got more temperature, higher temperatures coming, so we'll get back in the boat. But it's been about 3 weeks, just to let you guys know. I know on the video it's all linear to you, but it's taken us a while to get this, because we got having weather interference. All right, so sit tight, but we'll be back with some more action here. We'll get this thing cranking. All right, so we're back in the shop on the boat, because it's not like minus 22 degrees out. It's a comfortable 40 degrees with the heater running, and about 37 in the shop with the temp coming up. So we're back out and we're working here, and what we're trying to do is get this wrapped up, the final pieces of the fuel system. We got to come up, we got in there a filter, and as we said, we'll change out from the plastic one to a metal one once we get everything tested, because you don't want to leave the plastic in case it springs a leak. You want the metal kind in there, because you don't want gas dripping into your bilge. It runs on up, runs up here and connects onto the fuel pump right there, Now what I wanted to do was remove the fuel pump 90 degree that comes in there, but it hits the water pump right here when you do it, so you can't do that. And then it comes out. This is the water separator that's down there, and then it'll come back out and connect into the carburetor here. But I have to do some adapting. I have to adapt. I got them right here. The AN fitting, this AN fitting side, which is larger, into this size, which is smaller. It's like what is it? 1/4 to 3/8 or something like that. So I've got to go find 2 adapters. One that's this size to that size, 2 that's this size to that size actually, because coming out of the water separator there, which you can't see, there you go, you can see it now, is the size of the nipple, slip-on nipple, and we want to use an A in there if we can. And then here, this is of course the filter that goes in and screens the filter screen. We want to adapt that size out to an AN. And then what we'll use is this U-turn one on this one right here to go up in that direction, and then just a straight one like this one coming on off of it. But let me go find a couple of adapters, and we'll continue on and get this wrapped up, and then we can move and try and get the electrical wrapped up, and then we're up front and we're in good shape because we're all done back here. That's all wrapped up like we talked about in the previous segment back here. Well, except for the pipes that come out and go in the blower, but we'll go ahead and we'll run them in. So that's all right. And we'll be right back. How about some gratuitous footage of the snow coming down on February 20th? And this is the small storm. We're supposed to get a bigger one on Sunday. This sucks. I'm ready to be done with the snow. Really. Alright, well, we're going to get a fuel system in on this boat over here. We got what we needed to finish it. So we're going to wrap that up. So hang on and we'll go jump right into that. Sorry, just had to put in a little gratuitous snow and wine. Alright, so we got it together. Originally what we're going to do is make adapters from here. We got pipe fitting adapters, and then we're going to put these are 1/4 inch MPT into the AN6s. But I ran out of the fittings here. It only came 4, and I already used 3 of them, so I only had 1 and I needed 2. So I went to order them and initially ordered these, which were not 1/4. They were bigger because I didn't measure, I guessed. Of course it bites me. And then went back and ordered and see we were going to do 2 of these, but what we ended up doing actually was, put those down there, is I ordered the quarters for here so we could use them as adapters. But then I also saw after I clicked and put them on the cart, they had 8s, which is what we were adapted to. So we got a bunch of 8s, 4 8s. We just pumped in 8s in there. You can see where I did that. Right here directly into the carburetor, like that, and over here on the water separator. And then we just measured and we made up a cable. You've seen me make up a cable. It has a straight connector that's going to go to the water separator, and then we used the U-turn one to come up and hook onto this. So let's go ahead and get this coupled, and we'll have this fuel system pretty much together so that at some point we can go look for leaks, filling the tank and letting it do its thing. Let me get you set up here. Turn you up a little more. And hopefully you can see in here. We're going to go ahead and go underneath like this. Go ahead and get this onto the water separator. Nice and straight, hopefully. Come on, turn on there straight. Come on. to get these fittings to screw on straight. You don't want to cross thread them. It's being a pain. Of course it is, because it's down, because I got a pipe in the way. Come on, get on there correctly. Turn on there, come on. Playing hard to get. Alright, let's go over the top of the pipe then. See if that goes in there better. We knew we were going to have to move crap around to get it in there, so. Because it's tight fit. There we go. That fits better. I'll come in here, and I made the pipe. Yeah, I made it too long. Because I made it originally to fit underneath this. So let's get it underneath it. Like this. There we go. Come in here like this. Let's see if we can't get you to fit on that correctly. Looks like I made it too long, way too long maybe. Come on, get on there at the right angle. Okay, let's do it the other way then. It's going to be easier to put it straight up, even if I got extra cable there to make sure it worked. Come on. Of course, everything's got to be difficult, because we're working in cramped spaces here with hoses already in place, causing it to bind and get caught in everything. Come on. No, behave yourself. Come on. Cable. Keep calling it cable. It's a hose. Let's go ahead and get the one that's U-turning on first, seeing how it's going to be more difficult. Oh yeah, I mean, look how far that goes back when I do that. We may have to indeed shorten that sucker up. We'll see. Here. Let's do the rerouting here. Let's see if we can get this to go where we want it to. Maybe. Being difficult. Of course, you know, you can't bend your hand certain ways. And of course it's, you know, it's you're right. It's injector style hose, so it's got metal in it. So it wants to not bend where you want it to, and it wants to play hard to get. There we go. Alright, come on. Now get you on. Line up right. Come on. Yeah. Gotta get it at the right angle because this water separator is slightly down instead of straight in. Come on, line up with it. Line up with it. Ugh. Come on. Being difficult. There we go. There we go. Could have made the hose a tad bit shorter, but it works. Do that, the best route for it. Just like that. Tighten things up. You are an 11/16, right? Yep. No, bigger than that. There we go. Should really use the aluminum one, soft. It's just aluminum, so we'll just get it to seat. There we go. We'll do this one. Seat. There we go. All right. So we're in there. Grout it down underneath here. Comes up. Goes to the separator there. So got fuel to the carburetor. Everything's tightened. Everything's good. So we're all the way back from the tank to the relay control underneath and through the filter up into here. We're going to switch that clamp out. We're going to go from that clamp style there to, I got a screw type, I'll switch that out. Into the separator, out to the separator, into the carburetor. So we've got the fuel system together. We'll have to check it for leaks to make sure, but that's good. And so now what we can do is let's wrap up the electrical at least up to the dash, because then we got to strip the back of the dash and go do that. And once we got that, with a couple little tweaks, we'll have all the mechanical in. We'll need to hook up the throttle and choke control on this, but no big deal, we've already figured that out. So hang tight and we'll be right back with that. Okay, so the fuel is wrapped up, right? Till we get to the leak detection portion of it, where we put fluid in it, we can try and make it pump and make everything work. So that'll probably be later, a little bit closer to spring when we do that. We got everything wrapped up in here just so that we can handle it. So now we moved on to getting the carburetor totally hooked up, and we've got the choke hooked. This is the throttle cable. Let me move it out of the way. And it was pretty easy. We're just gonna come in here and we'll pull it to the inside. We'll mount it here. You can see where I'm holding it down with a cable strainer so it stays out of the flywheel here. And when we finish and we tighten up everything, we'll do that with everything. But then it just comes through the gap right here, right up to the mounting points, and it works perfect with that. I'll show you. Let me set you guys up to watch it, and I will go over and pull the cable. Excuse the shot of my feet. I'm trying to get the mini stand here open. There we go. Click. Get floored on too. Throw that up there. Put that over there like that. To see it. Alright. Closing the choke. Choke closed. Opening the choke. Choke open. Halfway. Partial choke. All the way choked. Close tight. Pushed open. All the way open. Alright, so that's working fine. So now what we're going to do is the throttle portion of it. And we had to figure out how we were going to do that. So the initial thought I had was going to run the cable just down to the inside of this mounting bracket here, and then mount it to here, have it come over, drill a hole, use a couple bushings and put a belt crank in, right, so it can just pull straight back and forth on the back side of it like this, and then at the belt crank we can rotate this around. I got it loose, right, that's open, so it would need to pull it down, and that would be up, so you push on the cable, the belt crank would pull it down and do that. But there's a problem with doing that. Do you know what that problem is? Can you guys figure it out? What the issue is that I would run into if I did it that way? Let me go ahead and put the Jeopardy song on, and you can theme and think about it for a second. Do 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 bum bum. Okay, time's up. If you think you came up with it, go ahead and put it in the comments section. But the issue that we run into is, you notice this is mounted on rubber, right? So when this goes to take off or move, it's going to torque, and it's going to torque opposite of the spin, right? So it's going to go up and down to the right. So if I have a throttle cable that's fixed to something that won't move, when this torques, it's going to pull or push on it, bend it, break it, or, I mean, I could always couple it with a spring, but if you do that, then the throttle could potentially go rah, rah, rah when you do that. Same as in a car, right? The current ones have electronic, but mid-80s, they switched to cables that came through the firewall and mounted it to the carburetor so that they would move with it. And prior to that, even if it was like a hard fixture connection, it came through the firewall, so when it rocked in this direction, up and back and forth, all it did was rock the connection. It didn't try to move the throttle with it. We would move the throttle, so we're going to run into that problem. So here's what we're going to do with it. The cable comes all the way up to here. You can run it to the same spot, pull it. I'm going to take a bracket and make a bracket up for this. This is a stud in here, so if I need to, I can pull it out and put a bigger stud in. We'll put a bracket that comes out and down and over to here to line up with this. We can mount the cable to it. This is fully extended right now, and it pulls, so we can go ahead and put this up like that. Let's go ahead and arrange it. Probably about like that. Connect it to it, so when it pulls the throttle towards it, and then we push it, because we're using the handle, right? That's sitting over there. And the handle will just push it and stay there. And if we need to, we can put another bracket on the back and attach a spring, and then put a spring underneath here where we connect the front of the cable up into the underneath part of here, right? This will come up, we'll secure the cable and connect the ball. We'll make a little ball connection for it, so that when you push this forward, push it forward like that, the bottom of it swings backwards. We'll pull the cable and translate over to here to pull that. All right, so that's what we're going to do. Let me go see what I have for materials to make the bracket, or find one that's close that we can work with. Then we'll get everything set up and connected, and we'll give it a shot. But it shouldn't be too hard to do that. So hang on tight, and we'll be right back with it. All right, took a little break, grabbed a little lunch, grabbed some coffee for that. I had to take a second to think, because I had an error on my part. Not a big one, but I should have realized this before I went and did the thing that I did to it. But anyways, let me catch up where we are. we went ahead and this is one of those L brackets that we used over here, right there, for its keepers over there. Was one of the, I got 4 of them there in the package, and so I just made a little bracket for it underneath. We'll tighten it down tighter, make sure it doesn't move. Twisted it off so it lines up, right, like this, and we'll make a piece that runs flat that we can bolt onto here. That this will come in, and we use hose clamps or something, clamp around it and clamp it so that won't move, okay? And then you can notice here I've got the swinger arm off. And I took the swinger arm off because it was bent in a little bit. It was pushing in a little bit, so I wanted to fix it. So I took it over to the device, put some heat on it, and went to straighten it up and did this to it. Broke it off. And the reason I broke it off is that is cast brass. That is not forged brass, and it is not malleable in the least. So we broke that off. So the way we're going to fix it is we'll take and I'll drill like holes big enough for number 10, number 8 hardware right in here on the base of it, and then we'll just put a steel piece that goes down and extends. And what we're going to do is we'll drill a hole large enough for this, because this has got a Z setup on it, right, where it will slip in there and do it, and then that way it'll rotate on its own. There's no complicated connection on it or anything. It'll just do that. So I will go off and do that, show you the results, probably ground it down a little bit so it looks a little bit better, and put the piece on there and then hook it up, and we should be fine. And that should work fine. If we have to, we can make a piece that goes from here over to this bolt and stop it from moving. It shouldn't move. It's, you know, all it's doing is pulling the throttle, so there's no force on it whatsoever. So with the star washer or a little Loctite, which I might put on it, it should keep it up there, and we should be fine. And it's just a simple bracket to go ahead and hold that and put this back on after we fix it. You know, it'll be fine. But even if we want to just drill a hole and mount it up a little higher, couldn't we? Right, so right about here, get it set up and stick it in there, use the Z on it. We might try that first, seeing that we need to have a hole there anyways. Let me go do that. We'll be right back. I'm gonna join my coffee first, so you hang out in cyberspace from your perspective. I'll be back in seconds. All right, see you in a bit. All right, so here's the bracket arrangement. We shortened it up a little bit, moved it in, bent things around. We just drilled a hole in it. We just used the Z connection on the cable right there to do it. This is in the full throttle out position, so it's going full throttle at this point. We're not going to leave it like this with the single hose clamp clamping it like that. What we'll do is we'll put a crossbar on it the same width as this material here, and clamp it at the front and the back, either using mini U's or even hose clamps in that point, so it's clamped in 2 positions, and so this cable can come up a little bit and be a little bit more straight. But this just proves the concept. Let me go ahead and set you guys down on the mini stand, and we'll get a record of it moving, hopefully. So it's totally out now. Go ahead and we'll push it back in. Like that. It's a little stiff, but it was used in with alignment. And then back out again. About half throttle it should be. Then out all the way. And back in. It tends to be a little bit more analog, or digital actually, where it goes blink in. So when it's on the lever arm, I'm pulling it with a piece of pliers right now, but when it's on the lever arm, you'll be able to smoothly actuate it. And like I said, we'll put the cross piece on it here. We'll get the cable up a little bit so it's coming in straight, clamp behind and in front, rather than just here. This was just proof of concept that this was going to work, and it does. It goes in and hits the stop. Be able to set an idle for it. If we have to, we'll run a back bracket out to help, you know, so this won't move or anything. I don't think it will once that's Loctite. We might put one on here for a spring to help pull it a little bit back. but it's got plenty of resistance. It isn't going anywhere. Alright, so we'll come back when we got it cleaned up. We'll show you that, and then we'll move on and wrap up this electrical up front here with the bilge pump. We got to put in the neutral safety switch, and we can run everything up and get underneath there. Once we know that we get all the wires underneath there, we'll go ahead and we'll work on this section of floor, because we're going to take the shifter rod, if you recall, and we're going to move it up and out a little bit. So it'll take a little work here to line that up a little bit. So it'll be a little bit higher up, not quite so low in the bilge area when you go to shift. So hang tight, and we'll be back with the next section. Alright, so we got that all in. That's all plumbed. You can see it's up here. We just need to put the top on it. And then we're going to get another hose, and on this side we'll go down underneath the other part here, and so air will come in and push it through, and then the blower will of course blow. This goes up, and there's C-poles, weep-holes that we have in the stringer so that water can get to the center and run off. So that's where the air will pull, and it'll pull from this center section as well as underneath the front. We got this working nice and smooth. We're going to go with this design right here, where we have the crossbar. We're going to take the head of the bolt off. We're going to weld and make a little stud so it's flat. And then what we'll probably do is pop 1/4-inch holes in here where we can stick these through. Let the knot, the cinch part be in the back, and we'll clamp it right to it. It works fine. When you pull it, it's nice and smooth. You can set it halfway, you can set it in the middle, set it 1/4, whatever you want. So that's looking really good. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to end this one here, because as you've probably noticed since you watched the whole thing, it's really long. So, and we'll come back and we'll just show you the finished once we do it and clean it up. And then we're going to go ahead and we'll work on this, and we'll get all the wiring set up and around, ready to go. We'll pull that all apart on that one so that we can go ahead and get the wiring in. We're going to put relays and fuses in and all that type of stuff, but we'll get that all set to there. We'll also work on that shift lever. We want to raise it up a little bit, and we need to put the neutral safety switch on it. So all that's coming, but we're going to stop this one here. We thank you guys for watching. We really appreciate you. If you do all that jazz for me, subscribe, share, comment, it would really help the channel out, and we really appreciate it. All right, so stay tuned. We'll have another video coming at you, and we're going to get this thing wrapped up one way or the other by spring so we can get it out on the lake, have some fun with it, and then we're going to put it up for sale. So if you're interested in the Classic, you've been watching this, you think you might want it, let me know, because we'll have it up once it's finished. All right, so you guys have a great one. We'll see you real shortly with a new video on the boat.